Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. We're that happy that you can join us for another week.
We certainly are.
And today we're excited. We have Iris Angelis on. She is an author, artist, mentor, healer, workshop facilitator, chiropractor, and applied kinesiologist. She says your body is the portal to your soul is based on a combination of her own lived experiences and insights. She's gained from seeing over 25,000 patients after nearly 30 years of practice. She has a deep passion to empower people to thrive in their lives and bodies so they can offer the world the gift of their unique soul frequency. Within the pages of her first book, Passion to Thrive, Iris introduces different archetypes that guide us through difficult situations and circumstances back to our own magnificent selves and to the divine feminine. Iris lives with her husband and beautiful cat Indigo on the north coast of Southwest Australia.
New South Wales, yeah.
New South Wales. So
the east coast of Australia.
Iris.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you and talk about some different stuff and about we're going to talk about how people see their bodies and things like that. And so I think that'll be a great conversation to have.
For sure.
Yeah. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? We've introduced you, but a little bit about yourself and your journey, that kind of thing.
My journey, yeah, long, convoluted, and with plenty of obstacles. Yeah. So like the bio is obviously a good summary of where I'm at or who I am. The writing of the books is a really interesting thing. So I might just show you. This is my most recent one. Your body is the portal to your soul. The subtitle is Your Body Has the Answers. Make it your best friend for life. Yeah. So that's I'm really passionate about that because as a chiropractor, I see how different people treat their bodies in different ways, right? So we get some people that come in, oh, I can't move, I can't do what I need to do, fix me up, a couple of visits, and they don't see them again until the next time they do this, right? So to me, that expresses a relationship with the body that's all about it's got to serve me and it's got to feel okay. And if it's doing something that's unpleasant, then I will take a medicine or do something to, bludgeon it into submission so it can keep doing what I want it to do.
Okay.
Which, actually people come to chiropractors are potentially not quite as bad as that. I suspect GPs see a lot more of people with that mindset. And then at the other end of the spectrum, I've got people who go, I feel really good coming in just seeing you once a month. And that's what I'm going to do because I want to feel really good in my body. And I really appreciate what my body does for me. And I want to give it everything I can in order to make it feel healthy and vibrant and alive. And, one of the things that's really interesting for me now that I'm, on the other side of 50 is that I meet people who are younger than me and they look 10 years older. And so I'm kind of now getting to the point where I go, all this care that I've put into my body, all the nurture, all the good food, all the exercise, all the rest, all the consideration I've given my body over the years is really paying off now, visibly, I ask a lot of my body, and to me, one of the things I talk about in the book is the different ways that you can interact with your body. So one of the ways you can interact with your body is treating it like a lovely little pet. Like if you have a pet, you pat it, you feed it good food, you give it time to play, you give it exercise, you give it rest, you give it cuddles, and anybody who loves their pet wouldn't do anything else, right? Mm-hmm. Why don't we treat our bodies that way, right? Like it needs food, it needs rest, it needs play, it needs joy. It needs pats, it needs good water, it needs, connection with nature and with beauty. And if you treat your body in that way, your body will thrive and feel amazing. And as a result, then we as the beings living in the body can thrive and feel amazing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What else was I say about that? Anyway, it just went. So, yeah. Most of us have been taught to be dissatisfied with our bodies or unhappy with it, or, you know, we look in the mirror and go, oh, I've got this thing. You know, like you meet teenagers, they feel like they have to put their faces full of makeup because, you know, they want to look even more beautiful. And I look at them and go, you're stunning. Okay, that might be an age thing as well, but you're stunning. Like you're gorgeous. Why would you try to improve on the beauty that nature has already given you, you know? And if we can step into a space of gratitude and appreciation for our bodies, and just really sink into this, you know, creature that has its own intelligence, and this creature that knows exactly what we as a collective body and soul living in the body need in order to thrive on planet Earth, then we will take those messages that we get from our body that are uncomfortable and start going, okay, what is my body actually trying to tell me by showing up with this discomfort? What's it trying to tell me? You know, like, what does the body need in order to thrive again? So it has this incredible, it's like our bodies are this incredible navigation tool that, you know, can teach us and tell us exactly what we need to thrive. And most of the time we ignore it or suppress it and hate it for talking to us in the first place. Instead of going, wow, that's really good information. I need to act on this information I'm getting from my body right now.
Yes.
So it's this incredible guidance system that we have access to. And like, to me, the vast majority of people sort of live from here up, right? They live in their minds, through their senses. They don't really feel their bodies. So, you know, when there's this disconnection, then of course the body coming up with discomfort is going to feel challenging, you know, and we aren't given the tools to go, okay, so what does that mean? So that's my passion, to allow people to actually step into, okay, feeling their body, and then what's this mean when this emotion or this sensation comes up in my body.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I'm starting to learn a little bit more just through some different things. Like I pulled my neck not too long ago. And so then I went to the chiropractor and I went to the acupuncturist, and so it was interesting to hear their take on it, because it was like the acupuncturist was like, well, first of all, you're dehydrated. So that's part of it. So your body can't move and be limber like it should be because you're not drinking enough water. I'm like, oh, okay. And then it was like, that's where you hold your stress, but it's also, you know, to do with like some feelings and thoughts and emotions. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And then when I went to the chiropractor, he's like, okay, well, you need to, you know, be standing up, and you need to be making sure you're, you know, doing some exercises with your neck to make it limber. And like, so just listening to your body and doing that. So now when it kind of twitches or something, I'm like, okay, did I drink water today? Did I do my exercises? Right. Like, let's listen to it. And I find that with so many different things that before I would have just said, oh, how do I get rid of this? And now it's like, why is it saying that to me?
Perfect. Yes, absolutely perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to pay attention to your body. That's what you're saying here, that, you know, the body gives us all these little signals. And if we really pay attention to it, you actually feel where it's connected to, you know. But it's just taken that moment or a few moments to do that. So what would you tell people to do once they feel something with their body? What should they sort of walk into at that point? What would you advise?
Well, firstly is just notice what the sensation is, you know, notice where it is, notice what it feels like, you know, notice what the distress is about. Yeah. And then, you know, sometimes it's quite simple, like I'm really tired, well, sleep, you know. Not that hard. But then again, a lot of people just, you know, pick up the phones or their screens, and that has this blue light that stimulates, so then stops you from actually wanting to go to sleep, right? I'll just digress for a moment. Like back in the day, we were in the evenings, we were by firelight, right? It was candles or it was fire or something like that. And that's that red spectrum of the light spectrum. So that's the one that kind of calms the brain down and gets you really mellow and makes sleep really easy. Whereas all of our screens, all they project is blue light, and that really revs things up. So, you know, I'm feeling tired, I should go to bed. Oh no, I'll just do this thing on my phone, and next thing you know, it's like an hour and a half later, and that's an hour and a half later that you've missed out on sleep, you know.
That's
So,
true.
you know, the temptations are endless, basically. So I guess ultimately it's about getting really grounded in your body and allowing the sensation to be there, really feel it and go, okay, so how is my body talking to me? And then, so there's a few different ways you can go about it. So if you know what that message is, like you now do, or have I drunk enough water? Then the next thing is act on it, right? Like actually do what it is that your body requires you to do. Sometimes we get sensations in our bodies that are emotions, right? Like I see everything in terms of energy. So basically our emotions are an energy, our bodies are energy. If you break down an atom into the original constituents, it's actually just energy that's been slowed down, yeah, that makes up the atoms, that makes up matter. So really everything in the universe is energy, it's just vibrating at different speeds, basically, yeah. So if sometimes what we feel in our bodies is emotions, right, or energy that is an emotion. So that's then something else that we've been trained out of, you know, which is just allow that emotion to be there. And generally, if you sit with it for, well, anywhere between a couple of minutes and a couple of days, if you just allow it to be there and don't resist it, then that will actually go. So that's one way of dealing with other sensations in the body. And then with the emotions, a lot of people, again, like living from here up, it's almost like they don't know they're alive unless there's drama. Yeah. So like you'll find there are some people and there's always a drama going on. And that's another way of actually fleeing the body, right? So you can flee the body into the mind, or you can flee the body into the emotions. So emotions are just feedback. You know, and by the way, I'm guilty of this as anybody, right? So emotions are just feedback.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about this for a reason, right? You teach what you need to learn. The emotions are feedback about, you know, what's going on in the outside world and how does that affect my energy field. I will call it my energy field. How's this? So, you know, there's somebody that says something or does something and I'm not okay with that. I don't feel safe with that. That's going to show up as an energy in my body. And if I can then take that energy and go, right now I'm not feeling safe, what does it tell me I need to do? Oh, I need to enforce a boundary. Oh, I need to actually remove myself from the situation or person. Or, you know, it's okay for me to get angry right now, to really put my foot down, whatever it is. Yeah. So the thing with emotions is too, if we can't or won't process them at the time, and we often can't process them when we're really little unless we have really expert, emotionally intelligent parents. And, you know, there aren't many human beings on the planet who qualify in that way. Although I think it's getting to be more and more. So when you're a little kid, you're basically taught that certain emotions aren't okay. So for women, this is often anger, and for men, that's often sadness. Yeah. So that means that we actually narrow down our potential experience in the world to just a small little band, which is unhelpful because, you know, women need to be able to get angry to enforce their boundaries, right? Men need to be able to be sad so they can grieve appropriately when something finishes in their lives. Yeah. Every emotion serves a purpose, you know, like it's an energy that can move through us. So I think of it as, you know, like an energy that moves through our beings, moves through our bodies, and then just dissipates once it's been acknowledged and held and accepted. And then it goes. But if you don't do that, it sits there, right? And every time you suppress that particular emotion, you add a little bit to the pile, so that when it eventually does come out, it's this massive big thing that of course is frightening because it's so big and it's totally out of proportion with what's actually going on. Right. So, you know, that then gets really difficult to navigate with. Like, firstly, carrying around this big heavy energy that might end up becoming symptoms in your body. But secondly, also when the emotion comes out as emotion, it comes out so big and so unwieldy that, you know, you scare yourself and others, basically. Yeah. I was watching a little video clip of a British comedian the other day, and he said his mum was sick in hospital, and he phrased it beautifully. He said, and men aren't allowed to cry, right? So when you have an opportunity, you really need to like get in there and get it all out. So he was crying for like 2 weeks, right? So he could get all the old stuff. Like that was actually really insightful, I thought, you know, because that's pretty much everyone with something, you know, we've all been taught something's not okay. And the thing is, if we can stop judging emotions, and if we can stop people who express certain emotions, and just go, okay, it's just an emotion, it's just an energy, it's telling me something. If I can allow that emotion to be there and take that information and then act on it in the appropriate way, then it's just this beautiful feedback mechanism that, you know, just lets you know, oh, something's not quite right here, or something's going on over here. Just pay attention to that. And then, you know, in my view of the world, our basic way of being as human beings is actually one of love and curiosity and peace and gratitude and community and beauty, and you know, like that's our happiness, that's our basic frequency, that's where our soul is vibrating at. So the more we allow all those emotions to sit there, the closer we actually are to being happy most of the time. You know, that's like that's kind of the frequency that we come back to, because that's our natural state of being when we live in our hearts.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to be depressed, and you don't need to be anxious, and you don't need to be, you know, in outrage all the time, you know.
Yeah. So do you, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Go ahead, Kim.
So do you think then when our body is talking to us, when we're getting aches and pains and things like that, like should we be asking our body, you know, what do you need from us right now? Or should we be, you know, journaling it to kind of pay attention? Or like, okay, you know, I have a sore knee. How am I feeling right now? Is there any correlation between the ache in my body and my emotion that I'm having?
It's yes to all of those, and it's going to be different from person to person and from time to time, right? So you're probably familiar with Louise Hay, who wrote the Heal Your Life, very famous book, where she takes, okay, if this happens, then that's what the problem is. It's probably a little bit more dynamic than that, I think, but it's you know, for people who are starting out on this journey, it's a neat little reference to have. You know, if you have a sore knee, you kind of go, oh, what are knees about? But it's really about a way of thinking. So however you access that. So if we say things in our language that give it away a little bit, like we say, oh, that person's a pain in the neck, you know, like that's quite literal, you know, like, oh, my neck is hurting right now, like they're sitting right here, you know. Or, you know, and any of the other, you know, I'm fed up, like I feel really full with this thing and I don't want any more, you know. Let's see if I can think of some more. So we can look at our bodies metaphorically, you know, what the knees do, they bend, right? What the knees do, they propel us forward in life. So is there an area of my life right now where those kind of things are a little bit tricky? You know, do I not know where to go? Do I, you know, have to surrender? Do I have to bend my knee? And I don't want to, you know, am I being, you know, unhelpfully prideful in some way, shape, or form in my life right now? So you can definitely approach it that way. And, you know, everybody's language and perception is going to be different. So it's really helpful to like just put your hands on the part of your body that hurts and go, okay, so what is it you're trying to tell me? And if you're quiet, it will actually tell you. And it's like, you know, you ladies would know this, but it's like anything else. When you ask the question, you pay attention to the first thing that comes up, because the first thing that comes up comes from the heart, comes from the body. And then the thing after that is that the mind comes up with. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just
our ego goes in then, right?
That's right. Yeah. So if that's a tricky process, you know, just do it again and again. Just kind of center yourself and ask a question of that part of your body again. I'm just going to put a little plug in for myself here. I've developed a course that goes with the book that actually takes people through that process in a meditation, and it's just super powerful. So funny you brought up knees. I'm just going to give an example for myself. So I had some knee pain, I think, yesterday morning, and I actually know what that is, right? Because I've worked it out. My husband's a practitioner as well, so that's really neat for those sorts of things, like what's going on here. Okay. So for me, it's a particular chemical compound that happens in plant foods. It's called oxalates. And the key for that is really just to reduce the amount of those oxalates that you take in, and then manage the rest of it with supplements. So so I was walking upstairs, my knees were hurting. I was like, oh, okay, right. Yes, you had too many oxalates yesterday. It's high in tea, and I had quite a lot of tea, and normally don't. And I was like, so why did you have the tea then? Well, because you felt like you needed a bit of a kick so you could keep yourself going during the day. So what does that mean? Actually, I was overgiving. Is that a helpful thing to do? No. Do you know that's not a helpful thing to do? Yes. Thank you for the reminder. Right? So then, today I haven't had any tea, like black tea, and made sure I rested, before coming on for this lovely chat with you ladies. So and my knee's fine, so it's literally this ongoing conversation. And, yes, it can be confusing if you're first starting out with this, but practice does make it easier. And, again, notice your thoughts as well. And sometimes it's a blah-de-blah, but sometimes they're actually helpful thoughts, and you can get really good insights from that. I found too, with that technique that I use for actually talking with my body, that sometimes there's a memory that comes up. So something happened earlier on in the piece that I just could not integrate, or I didn't know how to deal with that at the time because I was too young or too inexperienced or too stuck in the beliefs that I'd been taught were true. And this memory comes up, and it's like, wow, so that part of my body has been holding on to the energy of this memory all these decades. Like, that's phenomenal. It's actually protected me from having to deal with these emotions and these thoughts that were so strong that at the time I couldn't, but now I can. So, now it's surfacing, and it's like, wow, okay, that was a really pivotal moment. And I kind of knew it at the time, but now I can really see how that panned out in my life, So it really is just a matter of practice and having an open mind to going, well, what I've been doing so far has probably not been working. Like, if you look in the mirror and you go, ooh, probably not working for you, right? Because like, our bodies hear and feel everything that we say and that we think, like every emotion, every state of being has an equivalent energy and equivalent molecules in the body that circulate, like in terms of hormones and neurotransmitters, so that our bodies know at all times where we're at. And if we stand looking in the mirror and go, ew, like, that's a cascade to all the cells in the body going, yeah, you're not worthy, you're not desirable, you're not good enough, you're ugly, you're whatever your thing is. And what are the cells, like, these beautiful tiny little entities, 50 trillion of them, that work together as a community to give you life, make your life possible, that work to sustain their own life and then the life of the whole body. I mean, how phenomenal is that? 50 trillion, right? How many billion people have you got in the world and we can't get on, right? 50 trillion individual citizens in our bodies that are all cooperating and talking to each other and, doing the best they can with the circumstances and the resources that they've got to be healthy and thriving. And you tell them, yeah, nah, just not good enough. What does that do to them, right? Like, what would it do to you as a person if you're told continuously you're not good enough? It doesn't do good things, right? Most of us have probably experienced that. So, like for me personally, the single biggest thing that's changed things around has been gratitude. Like, I started practicing gratitude as an actual practice about 20 years ago. And gratitude has a really high frequency. So if you're a person who looks in the mirror and goes, ew, and don't really know how to get out of that, pick something in your body that you can be grateful for. Thank you to my eyes for giving me the gift of vision and colors and seeing beauty. Or thank you to my hands for being able to make a meal or feel the soft fur of my pet. Or, thank your legs and feet, right? Far out, like they hold our whole body weight and get us from A to B. In fact, as you're pushing off, it's like 2 or 3 times your body weight. And that's not even running, It's like, how amazing is it that we've got these incredibly, fairly small structures at the bottom of our legs that can propel us through life and take us from A to B. I mean, it's phenomenal. Just pick anything that you go, oh, wow, that's actually really cool. Thank you to my mouth for being able to say, I love you. Thank you to my ears for being able to hear music, And then it doesn't matter how small it is, that frequency of gratitude will wash through your body and your cells will go, ah, right? And then as you're getting really good at loving that one part of you, maybe you can find something else to love. And then, you know, given time, you will go, my body is just incredible. Like the things it can do and how it talks to me and how it guides me through life. It's just phenomenal. You know, it is. I get excited about this. I know it's a really thing to be excited about, but it's just so exquisite, you know, and like I've been practicing for 30 years now. And the more I learn about the body, the more in awe I am of it, because it's just this exquisite, amazing being that, you know, like I said, wants to thrive and wants to feel amazing. And, you know, it loves you and it wants to be loved back by you, you know, like the same way that we love nature or the night sky, you know, like we stand there in awe of it and go, wow, this is incredible. Like that's how I picture ourselves loving us. So can we just love them back? You know, like, can we just say thank you? Like the one being you're going to be stuck with till your very, very dying breath is your body, you know, guaranteed. Why make that journey unpleasant for both of you? You know, why not make that a journey of delight and discovery and mutual respect and care and compassion, you know? Yeah.
I agree. You have to know your limits and you have to pay attention to what your body's telling you. Knowing your limits is good because then you're not pushing your body to the extreme all the time. And you're allowing yourself to feel like with your heart and your soul, everything that's going on throughout you, to help you understand how to heal yourself, actually. You know? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice too, like when you honor your body, like you were saying, like great, you're eating healthy foods, you're exercising or moving your body, you're, you know, getting out in nature and getting that fresh air because we all need those things. And so, you know, to honor your body to do that, then I think your body starts reacting in a way that it's like, ooh, I love this. Like my mom exercises every single day. She exercises and you know, so I'm grateful for that as her daughter, because one, if she ever got injured, probably not going to be as bad as somebody, you know, that's more mature and, you know, would actually hurt themselves. And it's inspiring too, right? And so, yeah, you look at those kind of things and you're like, okay, but she's happy all the time because she's moving all the time. She's, you know, she's honoring herself that way.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah.
I really believe it is with energy, and the more you move, the more your mind is right there too. And I mean, as I'm maturing in life, one thing I think about is I want to make sure that my mind is intact right till the day that I have that little flight to the other place. But I want it to be intact. And so I know that if I do that, exercise like you're saying, and take care of my body, then chances are I'm going to be having a smooth, you know, smooth ride from here. And it makes me happy. It makes me happy. You know.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Exercise is so underrated as a health tool, you know. Like, you know, exercise is as good or better. Okay, I'm probably going on a limb here. As antidepressants, as far as, you know, lifting depression goes, you know, like there are studies to show this. One of the key indicators for how long you're going to live is how fast do you walk at your normal pace. You know, the faster you walk, the longer you're going to live. Like the stronger you are, the longer you're going to live. Antioxidant processes happen mostly in the muscles. You know, so, you know, like exercise as an actual medicine is super important. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah. So, and it makes the body feel good, right? Like, you know, if you watch any animal, they're going to play or they're going to run or they're going to do something at some point in time to move their bodies. And it's fun.
True. I know it is fun. It is fun. And I think too is I listen to music while I'm doing it because it puts me in the groove. And that also changes my momentum of how I'm thinking while I'm doing it. And I can even stop throughout it and just listen to the tune because my body says, oh, I guess it's saying I need a rest right now too, or maybe I'm just enjoying the tune. Either way, it's okay.
I'd like to circle back to what you said before, Kim, about you know, am I eating healthy food? Because one of my observations is that, again, with healthy food, there are different reasons why people do it. You know, like what some people go, oh, I've got to eat healthy organic food because I don't want to get cancer. And the other one is, I want to eat healthy food because I just want my body to feel well, and I want the earth that provided this food to have been treated well as well, in case of organic food, you know.
Okay.
So again, it's like, what's more important than possibly than eating the food is the energy with which you're actually eating it, because the energy with which you eat it is going to infuse the food, is going to fuse your own energy field, you know. So I think that's a really useful tool in terms of life, you know. Okay, I'm going to do this. It's like, okay, so what's motivating me to do this? Am I doing this out of love, or I'm doing this out of fear, which is basically two basic places you can start from, right?
You bet.
If I do something, sorry.
No, go.
Yeah. If you're approaching something from a point of love, the outcome's going to be completely different than if you approach something from a place of fear. And again, you know, if it's fear, just go, okay, wow, that's fear. Okay, so where is it sitting? Where is it fitting in my body? Why is it there? What is it trying to tell me? And, you know, like, I feel like the more in alignment you are with your soul, the more grounded your soul is in your body, the less room there is for fear, because you have this sense of this eternal being that's just here for, you know, a play in 3D physical reality, you know. Let's just drop out of perfection and experience things that are unpleasant. Oh my God, how novel, you know. I think you then drop down into the body and you go, holy smokes, that's a lot more, feels a lot more real than I thought it would before I decided to move into my body. But then that's part of the challenge of going, okay, I'm going to accept everything that life offers me, because the suffering ultimately comes from resisting what is, right? So, you know, if we see something that we don't like, if we resist it and try to push it away, again, that's going to come back at us harder, because we're actually feeding it energy. Whereas we go, wow, like, even if it's a trait about yourself that you don't like, I don't particularly like that about my own behavior or my own way of being in the world. It's like, oh, well, that's just part of who I am, and you don't focus on it, then it's not going to get as much airtime. It's not going to take up of your energy and of your mind space and of your emotional field. So you can actually be present for all the gorgeous bits that you are as well, you know, all the gorgeous qualities and energies that you carry. And that human thing can be really, really tricky, because we've always been told, like, you know, we've always been told, oh, you can't be this, or you can't be that, or that's bad, or that's bad. And it's like, well, it's just energy. Can we just step back and go, it's just energy, and allow it to dissipate and allow it to be there. Like, ultimately, that's all anyone ever wants, is just be allowed to be there and just be okay with being there. Energy is no different, you know, and then it will smooth out, and then it will, you know, let go, and you can move on with the next energy that comes into your field.
Yeah. And I think being present too, like, even like when you're talking about eating food and doing it, you know, coming from that love, and, you know, I want to, you know, fuel my body, and I want to do those kind of things, and just being present, because we rush so much through our days, like, right? We're like, oh, let's eat this meal, but let's eat it in, you know, 10 seconds, because God forbid that we would actually sit down and enjoy each bite and really revel in that taste of whatever we're eating. I think the more present that we can get with that, then the more grateful we can be for what we're eating, and just that sense of presence. I think we can tap into our bodies a whole lot better, and into our souls.
Oh
Yeah. You're absolutely right. 100% right on that. And the more present you are, you'll probably find the less food you want. And, like, you know, if you really desperately want to eat something naughty, you know, like, let's say chocolate, because many people really like chocolate. It's like, chocolate can actually fulfill a need. You know, sometimes when you're feeling emotionally really like frazzled or whatever, and a piece of chocolate can be quite medicinal then, you know. But then eat the chocolate, don't inhale it, right? Like you're saying, just savor it and make it, you know, really feel the sensations that you expect chocolate to give you. That's medicinal in ways of, and yum and all those sorts of things. And then you only need a couple of pieces, you know, don't need the whole block, right?
Exactly.
And then, you know, like that's what I'm talking about, judging ourselves, like, and then not judge yourself for needing a piece of chocolate right now. It's part of the human journey to feel these things and to reach for these things when the going gets tough. It's okay, you know, just don't make chocolate your staple, you know, like
Don't live there. Don't live in
a daily
chocolate
block
world,
of
right?
chocolate.
Like it's a treat. It's
Yeah.
you know, something to really indulge in. And I think, you know, we've moved away from that. And you look at some cultures that are very much about that, like, you know, their dinners and stuff are quite long and extensive because they have community, and then they also, you know, enjoy their food. And you know, the results of that is they live longer and they live healthier because they're moving more and they're doing these things and honoring their body. So I think that's what you're saying is right, is, you know, we need to honor our bodies and listen to them, and you know, take that negative Nelly off of our shoulder and put them in a box somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like, do you work to live or do you live to work? You know, I can think in a lot of, especially sort of Anglo type cultures, like we've really got out of kilter with that. You know, why do you eat? Well, to fuel your life, you know. So should it be on it? Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
You know, like if you have a 10-second microwave meal, you know, what's that going to do for you in terms of actually nourishing your body and nourishing your life, as opposed to, you know, just like eat, keep going, you know, like what about eat and enjoy? Like, I think one of the things that's really we've been conditioned out of is pleasure, actually really enjoying the pleasure of being alive, you know, whatever that might be. Movement, it could be food, it could be like even having a glass of water when you're really thirsty, like that feels great, you know. Like it's a community, sitting at a table, sex, you know, like all those things. It's like, oh no, I can't do that too well because I need to get back and work. It's like, well, why are you actually alive? You know, if it's not like, why did your soul drop in if not to actually experience the physicality of being in a body? And all the experiences, good, but also, you know, bad, but also the good stuff about being alive. Really taking pleasure in the beauty and really taking pleasure in the sensations, you know. And then well, I know the answer for that is then you don't need to buy so much stuff because you're already replete, right? You haven't got this gaping big hole of lack in your being that feels like, oh, I need to stuff 3 bars of chocolate in. Right? It's like, you know, it's really good to, I think, reprioritize actually taking pleasure, whatever that might mean for you. That could be a cup of tea and a book as well, you know. Like rest is another one of those things, right? Like 42% of the time we actually need to be resting, right? So rest is not just sleep. Rest is daydreaming. Like daydreaming is really important for sanity, you know. So and boredom is where creativity percolates. So if we're continuously busy, we're actually missing out on those human pleasurable experience of feeling creative and you know, create whatever that might be, creating a meal that's really enjoyable for you and your family and your community, or, you know, creating an artwork or writing a book or redecorating your house or whatever it is that makes you feel like, wow, like I really feel like this is really nurturing and nourishing me, you know. Like that's a juiciness of life. And if we don't ground in our bodies and we don't accept and receive the pleasure when it's there, then that's also going to make us flee up into our minds and into our emotions, and basically they may get us to the end of life and go, what did I actually pay attention to this entire time? You know, like there's this movie called Fast Forward, and admittedly I haven't watched it, with Adam Sandler, where he gets his remote and he can just fast forward his life. And I only saw the shorts, and I think that probably encapsulated it fairly well, which is he gets to the end of it and it's like, I have not been present for any of my life. You know, like how sad to get to the end of your life and go, I would like to do that all over again and actually just be present, like you were saying before, Kim. Just be present, just be grounded in my body and really experience those things.
Exactly.
Yeah. I find a lot of people are either rushing through life kind of in that similar way, right? Like it's like, oh, when I get to this stage, when I get to this stage, when, I do this, and they're rushing so fast that they're not enjoying where they're at in the present moment, but they're also filling their life so like they make their life so busy with like TV, like technology is wonderful and it's got its place in time because obviously we couldn't do things like this and and I think that's really good. But I think often we fill our time with it. Like we're on our phones, we're in front of the TV, we're in front of the computer, we're playing games, and we're not really enjoying life. We're just masking everything. So we can't listen to our body. We can't listen to what our souls need.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I'll get off my little soapbox now.
That's a great soapbox. Stay on it. Yes. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
I think about how kids are, you hear them, they go, oh, I can't wait until I'm 10, and I can't wait until I'm 16, and I hate being this age and stuff. And then you're saying to them, oh my God, enjoy where you are, enjoy those moments. They're so special. And cherish them. You're always telling that to kids. Slow down. Then we say it to others, but sometimes we forget to say it to ourselves. In the day, just slow down for a minute. Why are you hurrying? Is it that important that you get there in 10 minutes? So yeah, pay attention. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess for a lot of, like, I remember back to being a child, the excitement about growing older was being able to do more things and know more things and, be empowered to do more things. And I think that should excite us as adults as well, ideally, like, oh, wow, I'm going to do this course, or I'm going to read this book, or I'm going to have this experience. How am I going to change a result of that? Like that's the whole happiness versus growth mindset. Like if you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that these are growing pains, and that's one of the things that gratitude taught me. Like when I'm going through really hard times, like, okay, down the track I will be grateful for this because I will have grown and I will have accessed more parts of me, of my true being, of my soul, on the back of having had the experience. So it's unpleasant right now, but I'm okay with having it, like not resisting it, just having it.
Yeah.
And then be excited about, okay, who am I going to be at the other side of this? Like how much brighter can I shine? How much more present can I be? How much more enjoyment can I have because I've had this experience, right? So, I think as an adult of any age, that's something we can still get excited about. And that's kind of the growth mindset versus the happiness mindset, which is quite passive. It's like, okay, I am entitled to be happy. It's like, well, I don't think life quite works that way. Like you've got to actually be present to be happy ultimately, and you can't get something from the outside, be that a partner or a house or a car or a meal or anything. They can't make you happy. Like the only thing that can make you happy is you. And I know this is a bit cliche, but it's cliche because it's true, right? Like
true.
if you can't access the happiness that you carry in your own heart, none of that's really going to change anything. Whereas if you are happy already, then you can really get enjoyment and amplification of your happiness from those outside things. So like the world has got us conditioned upside down. We need to live life from inside out. We need to live it from the heart out. We need to live it from the body out in order to get the most juice out of it. It's still, like do, be, have, as opposed to have, be, do. Yeah. So be that person that you want to be, in order to then do the things to get to have the things that you can see other people in that position having and doing. Yeah. Like it doesn't work the other way around. You don't have it and then you feel this way. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
That's exactly right. So this hour is like rushing right by. If you had a final word to tell everybody, some final thought, what would it be? Some inspiration for everyone?
I think take time. I've already talked about gratitude, so I really like talking about that to finish with. But I think is take time. there's this concept of Einstein time, which says that time is actually something that we generate from the inside out. It's not something that happens to us from the outside. And I think that's particularly true at the moment. Like I felt, maybe that's a reflection of my own growth as well, but I felt a lot more of a slave to time back in the day than what I feel now.
Right.
So if you know, we talk about saving time, like that doesn't work because time's going to pass regardless. And if you're saving time, then you're actually just freeing up some time to spend it on something else, right? So where are you choosing, what are you choosing to spend your time on? Where are you directing your attention, right? Your attention is your energy currency, and what you pay attention to grows. So what are you paying attention to? What are you spending your time on? And like I say, if it's TV, it's probably not going to be conducive to a amazing, fulfilled life. So, you know, if you are one of those people who spends 4 hours a day looking at a screen, maybe put that screen away. And if it's, you know, really hard to just go cold turkey, then give your set time aside, you know, go, okay, from 8:30 to 9, I'm not going to do a screen. And then you can sit in this discomfort and go, right, what am I feeling right now? And then you will get through to, actually this time I would really like to just do, you know, crochet or read a book or pat my cat or talk to my spouse or you know, whatever it is. And chances are those things are going to nourish you a lot more than just keeping your eyes glued to the screen. Sorry, there was a little joke that came up then, which was, oh, the electricity went out the other day. So, you know, like I couldn't go out because the car was in an electric garage and I couldn't unlock the car and I couldn't watch TV. And so I talked to my husband and he seems to be a really nice person. Kind of like that, isn't it? Like, you know, if you really pay attention to everything you do, if you prepare a meal and you're really focusing on this food that you're creating, that energy is going to go into the food and it's going to nourish you more. Like that's the reason why hospital food or plain food, like, you know, you've eaten, but it doesn't really do anything for you, does it? Like you're still kind of hungry, even although there's stuff in your belly, right? So the more present you can be, the more grounded you can be in your body, the more rich your life is going to feel. And you know, if you're just starting out on this journey, then that is probably going to feel challenging because it goes against everything we've ever been taught. So just make small incremental changes. Carve out 15 minutes, half an hour, something that you go, okay, I can do that. And just take that time and just do that. And then increase it as you go. And then, you know, like you don't have to be perfect straight away. Just see life as a process, not as an end result. You know how you're talking about people rushing, Kim? It's like, we all know where this leads, right? Like, well, how's this going to benefit you when you're six feet under? You know, can we just see life as a process? And like we look at a flower and, you know, it starts as a bud and then it opens up and it's like, wow, it's amazing. The colors are scent. Yeah, how amazing is that? Like you wouldn't take a bud and go, okay, tomorrow I want a flower, right? Like as human beings, can we be gentle and compassionate with ourselves in that way too? And go, I'm in the process of being a human being right now. And it's a human being, not a human rushing or a human working or a human doing, right? Can I just allow myself to just take these changes small incrementally and be compassionate to myself and go, hey, today I did really well. I took 10 minutes out to meditate or do whatever. I'm proud of that. Celebrate those small wins. Because again, what you focus on grows, you know, your body feels the energy of celebration. Your body goes, oh, that was fabulous. Okay, we're going to do that again tomorrow. So we feel fabulous again, you know, like life is, don't take life too seriously. Like you don't get brownie points for, you know, obeying all the rules. And like, you know, the only thing you're doing is ripping yourself off. Like, who do you live your life for? You know, like really only person you can live it for is you. So, you know, find your self-worth and give yourself the rich life that you so deeply deserve. Like, and nobody else can do that for you. So you do need to take responsibility for that and you know, make those changes for yourself, in yourself.
Right.
And everybody around you will, that's the magic of it, isn't it? Everybody around you will start going, oh wow, I don't need to be so anxious. I don't need to be so busy, because you basically give other people permission to step into that space that you're role modeling for them by making these changes and by living your life for yourself in that way.
Right.
And then they have a ripple effect out, and that's how we create change from a grassroots perspective, you know. Then we can gather in circles like we are today and exchange ideas and go, hey, there's somebody halfway around the world who has exactly the same take on life as I do. How cool is that, you know?
Yeah.
It is very cool. And you know, it's we feel so lucky because we get to do this and meet people around the world and share these ideas and be like, yeah, hey, we think the same way. This is so cool. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's been so awesome talking to you. Can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Yes, so I've got a website. It's www.irisangelis.com, and that's got you know, my books on there, and it's got my course on there, and if I remember, I update my workshops on there as well. I'm not a big fan of being techie, but anyway, I've got a Facebook page. It's called Passion to Thrive, which is the name of my first book. I'm just going to show that while I'm here. That's another discussion.
Nice.
And I've got a YouTube channel that I'm quite active on, and it has a ton of podcasts and meditations and readings from the books. And, you know, just a funny story, I created a series of meditations to go with the archetypes in this book.
Yep.
And, you know, a couple of years later, I went back, oh, I'll just do this one. It was a warrior woman. Like, wow, that's a really cool meditation. I really enjoyed that, you know. so there's a lot of really cool, very different, very varied material on my YouTube channel that, you know, it's free for everybody to just enjoy. So, and I've only just started being on Instagram, so that's Iris Angelis. So we'll do my best to keep that updated as well. And on Facebook, I've got a Facebook page called Iris Angelis as well. So you're welcome to follow me there as well. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I will put all of that into the show notes so that people can find you. And we thank you for being on with us. It's been amazing and so much good information to get out there for people, and we really appreciate that. So
well, it's really lovely to connect with you both.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet beautiful women doing good work in all parts of the world. I love Canada, so I was like,
thank you. Yeah, we'd love to have you back. So
yeah, I would love to go to Australia too.
Yes.
They got big snakes there.
Yes. Mostly they're shy, except for the couple that aren't and that are really poisonous. So yeah, but,
yeah.
You know,
apart from that,
I think Australians are secretly quite proud of all these venomous wildlife that they have for no good reason. You know, like there's nothing in the way of predators, so why do they need these horrendous poisons? But anyway,
right. Well, thank you again so much. It was wonderful chatting with you, and we really appreciate you coming on and being with us. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, beautiful ladies. It's
Yes,
been a real pleasure and an honor.
Well, thank you.
Bye for
and everybody else, make sure you tune in next time.
You betcha.